This is really an exciting time to come back to Brussels because this is where this conference and the marriage between EIASM and the Journal of Product Innovation Management began in 1992. This is our 10th anniversary meeting. The series grew from a conference every 2 years to one that became an annual meeting, and we've met all over Europe. But Brussels is the home, and here we are at this time.
I was involved as direct chair, not only organization chair, for the first 3 years. And I got very nice support. And when Tom Husted came in as the editor of Journal of Product Innovation Management and offered us a special issue, it really became accepted.
The first meeting was in a very impressive hall that was built in conjunction with the 1958 World's Fair in Brussels. Truly elegant surroundings, a high atrium where our breaks were, and so on and so forth. Beautiful forum and garden just outside, so we could work hard in the meetings, go out and catch some sun with coffee in hand, and experience much of the cosmopolitan atmosphere that Brussels has to offer. So the conference has grown, jumping forward to 2003. We have over 80 papers being presented, approximately 180 proposals submitted to the meeting. That makes it truly the largest new product research conference anywhere in the world. And I'd like to think that the synergy between the Journal of Product Innovation Management and the EIASM conference have helped both gain considerably in stature.
The promise of the brand is to improve the quality of people's lives by bringing meaningful technology innovations to market at the right time. This was a sentence that we worked on for about 10-15 years because we got so diversified that nobody knew anymore in the company what the company was all about, and we had to find back the roots of the company of about 110 years ago and also diminish the number of divisions that we had from about 15 to 20 to about 5, which is a painful but necessary process.
We also have had quite
red, blue, yellow, and whatever color
easy situation of bringing in people from industry. We have very interesting keynote speakers every year, and they also want to bring people from their firms and so on to come in.
We are letting too many ideas wither and fail. We are not being demanding enough about the environment in which we work and the need for public support, public understanding and industrial integration with all that. And that is the only means we have at our disposal to compete with, as you said, Rick, the manufacturing, the workshop capacity of the 21st century, which is China on the one hand, the United States on the other.
This is a managerial conference. It's not a functional, narrow conference for people in a narrow academic area. We bring in people from all academic areas. There are people from, of course, product development management, but general organization theory, organization behavior, finance, accounting, all focusing on different issues or different perspectives of the same issues.
My way of researching this subject is as being the part-time employed by Volvo Aero, I was part of a business development project last year, and the mission was to develop the company market offer on selected markets. And the background was that it was very hard to find a competitive advantage with just the sold product or the services alone. And we were 7 members: marketing, sales, business development, financial guys, some general management, and a PhD student. That was me. Say you take a functional responsibility for your truck or for your aircraft engines, it really affects your specifications, because if you make, in one business model, you really make money out of selling parts and selling maintenance. And if you sell it like a function, which is another example of commercial logic, you will not make money of it, but you will only make money when the customer's truck or aircraft engine is running, and it really affects the inputs to product development. But that said, I don't think that products and service development as such will change. It's really their context that will change when you try to see that as some directions of innovations.
New products research didn't exist as a discipline prior to the creation of the Journal of Product Innovation Management. There simply was no single source for people to publish in, for interested readers to go to. In the early pre-maturity phases, the development of the journal, the collaboration with EIASM was fundamentally important simply because it allowed us to broaden the field of inquiry, both in terms of the number of people and where they came from, but also in terms of methodologies and problems which were solved. So I think that this has been a very, very synergistic kind of a relationship. And as the field moves forward, there's nobody that really can say where it is going to go. Innovation remains absolutely central to the practice of industry-leading companies. And indeed, oftentimes that innovation is not centrally managed, centrally understood, or centrally appreciated. The irony in this world is that there are many companies that prefer to acquire somebody else as a source of growth, whereas in reality, well-managed new product efforts create successes at a much higher frequency than corporate acquisitions. So I think moving forward, innovation will be seen as central to the culture of a vibrant, growing company.
Until now, only this kind of flexibility has been studied. There is the flexibility during the development phase, but there is at least another kind of flexibility. There is the flexibility during the whole service or product life cycle that must be taken into account. And we normally define this life cycle flexibility as the ability of introducing innovations during the life cycle with low cost and in a short time. These are all of the different components we identified, and these are the dimensions of the life cycle flexibility. And so we saw, for example, that using open and standardized technologies can help in having a good reactivity rate and so on. What is surprising from my point of view are these three squares, because in this case we found exactly the opposite of what we thought. So we thought that the main hypothesis was that having inside all of the technological competencies could improve the life cycle flexibility. While here we see that in order to increase the quality of a service, it's better to share with an off-site partner the front-end technological competencies.
We are taking a special interest in making this possibility for young people to learn about how to have a career in the academic world. And we do that in different ways. And one of the most important things is that we are, on one hand, we are quite tough with the criteria for being accepted. We have tried to rise the quality through more and more demands on the abstracts and so on. On the other hand, we also see too that young researchers can come and present early research. Maybe not at all ready for being published in a refereed journal, but so they can come and do their presentations, write a paper, have it commented from experienced colleagues, both the organizing committee and others in the conference.
A main question in developing new products in FMCG companies is what will the product do for or to the brand? A major issue, whereas on the other hand the NPD literature would say what are the key success factors when developing a new product, key success factors at the project level. So a holistic approach to branding on the one side and the product plus on the other. And obviously the strategy behind those two kinds of activities differ, because for the FMCGs it has to do with we want to build strong brands. One way of building those brands is to introduce new products, whereas the NPD literature would say we have to develop truly new products, or at least products with a differential advantage. You could put a new attribute onto a product. Like, for example, somebody sat during the last session with a Coca-Cola lemon. Was that you? Oh yeah. That would be a line extension. Obviously it's the Coke you all know, and there's just a twist of lemon. And you could say that those kinds of product development activities we do not focus that much on in the product development literature, because the level of newness is well, it's not, if it's there, it's not huge, and it's not that risky or that costly to make such a line extension.
Certainly Christer Carlson had quite a vision, for taking this forward. And it only took 2 meetings for him to realize that there was potential to do this on an annual basis. And certainly what has capitalized on the level of initial excitement has been growing networking and growing collaboration among researchers who have come together at the meeting, develop common interests, and link their research projects, so that there have been some very, very exciting and substantial projects that have emerged over the course of these meetings. The character of the meeting is very positive in that there are a group of senior colleagues and young scholars that come together to essentially deepen and extend emerging work.
Full-time program, we had 48 students participate in our forum, career forum, and we had 68 companies participate for these 48 graduates, and each company had at least, was making at least 2 or 3 offers. So they get absorbed really quickly.
Well, I hope to be continuing, and as a PhD student, I hope to be defending my dissertation. And what it does for me is it gives such a great opportunity to present my research and to meet all these people from different countries, and meeting each other during the whole day and seeing each other in the evening, more informally. That's so nice. It's a pity that it only lasts for 2 days. But then afterwards, after the conference, you know all these people, and you can send them emails, and you might phone them up, or they may become friends for life after the conference. And you're looking forward to see them next year, to write a next paper, next article, do nice research, and have fun here together.
So I think that the EIASM meeting is powerful primarily because of the seeds it develops and the germination that occurs with the sharing of ideas. I think the impact of these meetings is more directly seen in the development of young careers, and perhaps in publications that are yet to be made as their careers develop.
So this is a good paper.
Thanks.
The starting point for this paper was the assessment of an increasing number of failing innovations within the field of ICT. We had digital television, web, and so on, CD interactive, which raised the question with us how to prevent this in the future, how to prevent those massive amount of failing innovations in the future.
We demand empirical research. It shouldn't be just clever thinking. It's very good research, almost all of it today. And good analysis, good synthesis, conclusions. Maybe the most important thing that people understand, that they must think about the contribution. The word contribution has been paramount in understanding and analyzing what we do. And I think people today understand that if you are a good researcher, you contribute to the world of knowledge.
So within the scope of this paper, we try to cover 3 aspects. Firstly, based on practice experiences, we make some adjustments to the theoretical adoption curve. Secondly, we suggest a new segmentation tool, or we try to suggest so, the PASAP scale, which stands for Product-Specific Adoption Potential, as an innovation segmentation tool. And thirdly, if there's any time left, we also illustrate how the insights that are obtained based on this, the usage of this scale, can be implemented in an introduction strategy.
The early seminal work that has been published in New Products fundamentally deals with issues of effective practices, delineation of effective steps and process, what works in good companies and the like.
A changing consumer or changing market, the consumer has become more exacting, more critical, more fragmented, which makes that consumer or that market less predictable. Traditional assumed segment profiles, as the innovators and early adopters being typically male, more upscale, higher educated, and so on, have become unreliable in the current ICT environment. In that current ICT environment, or new communication technologies environment, which is characterized by increased offer of innovations, having such a smoothly bell-shaped curve isn't that evident anymore. So lessons from practice show us that there are more failures despite of the promising prophecies. More and more technologies experience a kind of wall. They bang into a kind of gap or chasm called by Moore, and they don't succeed in reaching the mass market. So to succeed in reaching the mass market, we will need a more effective targeting, which is based on a more profound consumer insight, a more profound insight in each of those segments, their needs and their wants.
So what EIASM does is opens the opportunity to discover new builds, new extensions, new corollary developments in the field. And there's tremendous room for discovery of not just what constitutes good process, but what constitutes the good use of process. And as organizations mature and process diffuses, the presence of a process is no longer going to be a sufficient condition for success in new products work. Success is going to heavily depend on the way the process is used. So there will be a lot of nuances that I think will be discoveries that eventually emerge from EIASM-centered research.
Hard services, production and consumption can be decoupled, whereas a soft service, the sort of production of the service and the consumption of the service, they happen simultaneously. So a service is like an experience that you're having. So when you're thinking about developing the service, if you're talking about a soft service, the customer by default is part of the product development or service development process.
We have all these improvements. We have improvement in meeting each other, improvement in presenting your research, improvement in getting used to how to get published and what it takes. And so we really risen the quality level of research in the field in Europe and also internationally. And I was quite happy with this comments I got from our American colleagues. This has now become the most important event internationally in this field. So that's a real achievement, I think. I don't know if it's true, but it feels like it is, yeah.
Sort of broad and narrow, I'll call it, market definitions say. It could relate to how when you look at what a customer wants out of a product as opposed to the actual product attributes. It could still be useful to define a product narrowly and look at it narrowly, the attributes or whatever, in this narrow definition, or it could also be better to define it more broadly as customer needs, or what is it that, you know, are they thirst quencher as opposed to Coca-Cola or something like that. Narrow screening, that's when you're focusing on your product and what it is you offer. So they may be offering shuttles to this hotel from our hotel. We chose the cheap hotel. Conference information, you might get a coffee pot, although we discovered we didn't have one. As opposed to looking at like who's there, and like I'm the lonely conference participant. Once I stayed in a hotel for 2 months and I joked I could make turkey in a coffee maker after that. If I were going to be long-term in any hotel again or away a lot, I'd love it if they had a microwave and a little facility down the hall somewhere that I could actually make soup or something. We hypothesized these connections so that narrow screening is going to affect this, which will in turn affect this. Broad screening is going to have an effect on spin-off knowledge, but of course narrow screening could also affect spin-off knowledge.
Certainly as I look ahead to the future, I think there would be great potential to harness some of the creative energy from EIASM and the practitioner-focused resources of PDMA and create a more vital global network that would involve the ability for researchers to continue to identify common interests across continents, to link with companies that indeed have information needs and pair those things together, research sites, money, and active minds all coming together.
The first challenge, of course, is to keep this organization alive, to see to that the meetings are very interesting for the researchers, that they are seen there, you know, it's publish or perish in this industry, and that you get something back, and it's important to come back all the time. And of course there is more and more competition, there are more and more journals, there are more and more conferences, and universities have less and less money. There are many restrictions today about professors only going to 1 or 2 international conferences annually, or 2 or 3 domestic ones and so on. And we really need to have this as the leading conference, otherwise it would be more difficult to, in a way, you can say, compete in this industry.
Christopher and I have been in contact now since 1991, but in planning for this meeting, which we co-chaired, I journeyed to Stockholm. He insisted on putting me up in his home rather than a hotel, and so on and so forth. So that indeed EIASM has been the catalyst, I think, for many, many relationships that will grow, I think, over time, have already grown with time. And to me, that's the exciting part. We always have had a major dinner in the evening following the first program, and the energy at that meeting is absolutely fantastic, and it comes in two ways. The table talk includes discussion of research opportunities, professional discussions, but there's ample room, particularly as the evening goes on, for just fundamental relaxation and enjoyment of good times with good colleagues.
Müssen das für Bäume sein, wo die großen Elefanten spazieren gehen, ohne sich zu stoßen. Rechts sind Bäume, links sind Bäume und dazwischen Zwischenräume, wo die großen Elefanten spazieren gehen, ohne sich zu stoßen.
So there's a bit of Gemütlichkeit associated with the meetings, good times for all.
Elefanten spazieren gehen, ohne sich zu stoßen. Rechts sind Bäume, links sind Bäume und dazwischen Zwischenräume, wo die großen Elefanten spazieren gehen.
Another interesting phenomenon is that the US patent activity, and not just the US, also the European patent activity, has changed quite a bit and looks quite different than many people think.
This is an annual meeting, not only a conference, but this is an opportunity to be seen and to create a network. And we've seen very interesting developments. We wanted also, aside of the most important objectives, to have collaboration starting in Europe. And there are quite many joint research projects going on, and there are also joint publications, and especially I enjoy when I see these joint projects and publications being across countries and even across continents, that they are really international. I think that's very good.
The best practices diffuse here in the among the users. First the innovators adopt the product, and then they communicate to their colleagues which are the best ways to use the product. But now there may be actually so that some are kind of negative opinion leaders, that some nodes in the network may say that this product this doesn't work and shouldn't be used in anything. So what I also want to study is that what are the different kinds of information and knowledge that is shared among in this network.
Certainly in Europe now, with the emergence of the European community, there are, I think, many fewer barriers for academics whose careers as they develop transcend national boundaries, so that the ability for someone from, let us say, Italy to know people in France not only broadens the opportunity for work in the new products research area, but also for career development. I think that's really exciting.
New product advantage. So far, in many studies into the success and failure of new products, it has been found to be the major discriminant between successful products and failures. We think new product advantage should be measured with formative indicators. Now let me explain to you what the difference is between reflective indicators and formative indicators. IQ causes the scores on these items. So someone has a certain IQ and someone fills out a questionnaire that measures his or her IQ, and then this results in certain scores. It seems smart to focus more on the customer PA and have a product provide benefits to the customer instead of trying to be superior to your competitor. Quite often researchers automatically use the reflective approach, while it might be more appropriate to use a formative approach. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
I believe that seeing this conference as an opportunity for young researchers is really pinpointing at one of the most important objectives of this activity, really.
The Europeans are very good at discovery, theory building. The United States researchers can take some of those theories, do empirical work, and work to do some validation. So that's an example, I think, of how the coming together through the networking process has been very, very central and beneficial to emerging research in the new products field. There are just tremendous differences as we move from south to the north that I think are very, very exciting, and the EIASM helps to bring all of those things together.